Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 49 of A Year of Change. We're ending our 6th week, and as such I'm going to sort of wrap things up a little bit and talk about a few unrelated things. First and foremost, I have noticed that, I don't know if it's just the subject matter from the week before or that it's a little lighter this week, but I have noticed there's a lot more swearing in these videos the past couple of weeks. And so I thought I would take the time to say that's probably not going to change. Getting a little more comfortable talking back and forth. I don't feel as sort of restricted, and I know that sort of sounds odd, but when I first started out, I had a rough idea as to what I wanted to do, and generally each time I would record something, I would have little talking points, and I would have them written down, and I would try to commit them to memory, and sometimes I would make them, sometimes I wouldn't, and so sometimes I had to re-record, and just trying to, put forward an air of professionalism on YouTube. But as of late, it's been, and I think it's because we had such long conversations the week before, I've gotten a little more relaxed, and I'm not really plotting out as much as I was. I'll have a rough idea, and there are some times that when I'm done, I go, I should have mentioned that, and I don't. That could be something I could do at the end of the week, I suppose. But, see, little ideas like that. So I just wanted to sort of say that that's probably not going to change. I don't swear a whole lot, I don't think. But when it's pertinent, when it's important, then, and when it calls for it, yes, I'm going to. So enjoy. On top of that, I wanted to sort of give a wrap-up of my week. I stuck with the treadmill. It's only 3 days, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I did that, and I did 1 kilometer on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and 2 on Friday. So I don't know if I'm going to stay that way or try to do 3 kilometers, because then that would bring it up to 45 minutes, and just gradually start building that way. It's just sort of one of those things that I'm glad I started it, obviously, but I do always feel better after doing it. So now that I'm sort of at a point, it's only been 3 days, I know, but, 3 times throughout the week. But if I start, when I'm done, I've just gone for a little walk. So I'd like to sort of get to a point where I'm exerting myself a little bit, at least. So I might do that. I'm not quite sure yet. And starting tomorrow, on day 50, we're starting our 7th week, and I'm going to tweak things a little bit in keeping with sort of keeping things more comfortable. It's not necessarily what we do here, but I've noticed, like, aside from Wednesdays when we normally would do like a little snack thing or something, I'm all over the place. And so I thought it might be better to have not necessarily a schedule mapped out every single day, but at least something that would give me a little bit of structure, that I know on Mondays we're going to do this, and I know on Tuesdays we'll do this. And not to sort of get to a point where people are like, I don't like Tuesdays and I don't like Thursdays or Fridays, I'm going to skip ahead to whatever. It's going to be the same. Just going to be us talking back and forth, but at least I'll have a goal every day, and I'll do that. Because one thing that I wanted to start doing, I'm going to be adding another section to the channel, and that's going to start tomorrow. So day 50. It's just going to be a new playlist, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on that tomorrow. I don't want to give everything away right now because we're sort of at the end. And it's just something that I think will sort of help us out and help other people out and things like that. So, what else did I have? Yes, I spoke with a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a couple of weeks, and sort of going back to what we talked about earlier in the week when people sort of either give advice or anything like that. I've never been one to say, you should try this and this and this. It's just sort of, he's sort of in the same boat as me. He's trying different things to see what work. And I found out last night, he said, I haven't had a drink of pop or soda for you Americans. Haven't had a drink. And, he said, I've stopped drinking it. And in my head, I was like, well, generally when someone says that, it's been a couple of days and eventually they'll go back. So I asked how long it had been, and he hadn't had one in over a week, which for him is a huge milestone. This is someone who would drink anywhere between 2 and 4 liters of pop every day, non-stop, like just without fail. Sometimes in a single sitting, he could polish one off. So he's he cut it out completely, which is the equivalent of me cutting out salt completely, and started drinking Gatorade sort of things, which have a lot less sugar in them. And he said that during the week he had a really rough week. He's had headaches. He hasn't been feeling good. And I mean, he recognized that a lot of that was just going to be withdrawal from the massive amounts of sugar that he's been going through. But near the end of the week, starting on like Thursday, Friday-ish, and especially Friday, he started feeling so much better. And he said that by Friday, he felt great, as he figured it was probably out of his system. So just sort of wanted to say congratulations to my friend. It's, to me, that's a huge stepping stone. It's not something that I stopped drinking pop a long, long time ago, but I can't quite remember the circumstances behind it. I don't think it was just cold turkey like that. And same thing with salt. I don't think I'll be able to go cold turkey with that. So bravo, it's a huge step. So not to say that, that if some of you are out there and you're thinking, well, I should probably cut this out, I guess I better do it now. That's not where we're at. That's where he's at. So don't worry about that. I just sort of wanted to let you know there are other people around me that are doing sort of the same thing, that are going in a different direction. But still, to me, I think that's pretty good. So I have yet to park on the hill at work. I figure I'm just going to wrap everything up this week that we sort of talked about earlier. And I don't think I'm going to be going up there next week either. I want to really get to a point where I'm exercising regularly on my treadmill first before I try to tackle that again. It's really, really rough. And it's just something I'm not quite ready for. So I'm going to leave that. Once I do park up there and start walking, I will let you know. Trust me. But I'm not going to jump the gun just yet. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I just sort of wanted to wrap everything up. We sort of had a different kind of a week. So I wanted just to address how things are going to be progressing from now on. It's nothing really, there's not going to be any major changes. I'm still going to do this every day. My timing of recording was a bit weird last week, and I'm trying to get into sort of a schedule that way. What I thought was going to work out really well was recording when I come home from work, so recording the night before, and then uploading everything to YouTube the next morning so that you have one for the day. And then I would go to work, and then I come home and I do the recording again and things like that. However, every now and then, wouldn't be able to get to it that night, and I would need to record in the morning. So there are some times there, and I think it's just this past week, where I'm saying things like, oh, well, yesterday I did this, and today I did that, and it's a day behind, and I'm not compensating for that, because in my head it's still Wednesday. So there's one, I think it was the one that went up Thursday, and I said that yesterday I did this, and I'm not working or exercising today, and it was actually Wednesday. Anyway, suffice it to say, the days were all wonky all over the place. So I'm going to try instead to maybe record and upload the day instead of like the night before. And so I'm just trying to figure out if I should do that after work, which I think is probably going to be better because then I have a whole day to sort of talk about, or do it in the morning, which might be good because then we can prep for the day and everything else. And then the next day I can tell you what happened. It's just that where my schedule is right now, I'm sort of stuck in the middle of the day. So I need to be up very early in order to get everything done and all the other stuff. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but I will keep doing at least one video a day because I need to do it for myself to make sure that I stay on the straight and narrow. And I want to do that for you guys as well so that when you're following it, there's not going to be a gap. And then all of a sudden, 2 videos are coming up. I mean, right now, as I'm recording this, no one's watching anything anyway. I have 6 subscribers at this stage as I'm recording. And they're all my friends that I've already spoken to. So they don't count. But eventually, once we start building more people, things like that, then I think it will start picking up. So when you're watching this, it's probably a few months later. And I know there's sort of that logical part of me says, well, no one's watching anyway, so just record it at night. And if it goes up the next day, it goes up the next day. But that's very easy for me just to sort of slip into, well, I won't do one today then. I'll skip it and then it'll progress that way. I need to do one every single day. If I'm going to stay on this program, And if I'm going to not really present or not really set an example, but I can't really say, oh, we're doing really well, we're doing great, and keep at it, if I'm not doing it myself. So that's why you should be able to see in the bottom when this was posted on YouTube. Make sure that it's every single day. I'm not going to miss a day. And I'm not recording this in a leap year either, so there's one extra day that I'll have eventually at some point. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to sort of end this week just as a bit of a wrap up. And I realize I'm clapping again. Sorry, into my mic. I can make lots of noises in there, but I won't. So I wanted to end on a story. And this is one of the bus stories that I have. I've got a number of different ones, so I might tell two. A long time ago, during the past 49 days, there was one video that we did where we were talking about primping and preening and always just being very self-aware of where we are. And so we are aware of, where we'll fit and what things look like on us and things like that. I did have one lapse in this. So this is going back at least 2 years because it was before I had a car. And I was still taking the bus. And it was one of those things that my schedule was always changing. So I ended up having to go generally about 2 hours before work because I had to transfer buses because I live in a nice little secluded area. I'm still in the main city, but I'm in a really nice sort of natural area in my house. To give you an idea, last night I could go outside, and even though it's only 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I can actually hear the insects and everything else crawling around within the leaves. It wasn't windy, so they weren't blowing around, so it's that quiet. It's really, really nice. But that's neither here nor there. So I would normally have to get on a bus and then transfer and get on another one and things like that. So I got on the bus and obviously just sort of make your way through going, I'm not going to sit there. There's already a fat person there. I can't sit there. She has a stroller, things like that. And I got to the back, and there's just one guy sitting sort of in the corner. And for whatever reason, at this particular day, my brain went, you can fit there. There's plenty of room. So I went to go sit beside him. And in my head now, I imagine he's just sitting there going, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're not going to fit. You're not going to fit. And there was his chair, and then there was another chair, and I have no problem sitting in the bus chair. It's not that I'm like overflowing everywhere, but right beside that second chair is where the engine was. So it sort of, there was like this little rise thing, and in my head I should have known it's really for two normal sized people. It's not the same as sitting on a regular bus seat, and yeah, there was not enough room. There was nowhere near enough room. And I did not fall. I didn't slide out of the chair or anything. But, of course, as soon as I start to sit down, the bus goes. And it was less than graceful. We'll put it that way. I didn't kill him. I didn't fall on him or anything. So don't worry about that. And in the end, I just went, that was really, really stupid. There was no way I was going to do that. I'm going to stand up. And just sort of looked over at him. And he gave me this look as if, yes, you're going to stand up. That was stupid. You should know better. And it's weird because we're normally very much aware, looking at something going, no, too small, not going to do that. And for whatever reason, and this is the only time that this has happened in my entire life. I've never gotten to a point where I'm like, oh, geez, I was sure that it was. No, I've always been very much aware. But in this particular case, it didn't work. Now, keeping that in mind, that's not exactly a very funny story now that I think about it. It's just a really ugh kind of story. But I do have a better one. So I will tell two for today. And this is, again, a bus story because a lot of the worst things happen on the bus. I think I've explained my disdain for the bus in previous videos. It's not that because it's public transportation or it's for poor people. I was poor. I had to drive the bus. It's just it's filled with what I would graciously call weirdos and nut jobs. So you'll get on there and there's a grown woman with a doll, and there's a weird guy who's talking to himself who probably hasn't had a shower in 6 months, but he's going to work, which is really beyond me. It's just filled with a bunch of weirdos on the bus. So, got on the bus. In this particular time, I was going to, it was a night shift, so I was working at night. Middle of winter, so I thought, no, still have plenty of time. It wasn't really, really bad. And so, got on and took my little ride to work and everything. Did my transfer, stood out in the cold. I winter well, so it doesn't really matter. The cold doesn't bother me. So, getting on the bus, and like most buses, now there's the entrance is in the front and the exit is near the rear of it, about 2/3 of the way down. So the driver stopped where he needed to stop and the doors opened. And the plow had gone by earlier on that evening on the roads. So the roads were nice and clear, everything was great. But where he opened the doors, it wasn't really technically at an intersection. So the leftover snow that had been pushed over, there was a little bit of a pile blocking off the sidewalk. So, and it wasn't a huge pile, it was probably knee-high. But I'm getting off the bus and I'm like, I can't just step here because he'll run me over when he leaves, and I don't want to traipse through everything. So I thought, well, I don't want to go all the way back up to the front of the bus and then get off where he's supposed to drop me off and everything else, and he can't see it, and there's other people around. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll simply jump over the bump of snow. What could possibly go wrong? Now, I'm not the most athletic person in the world. Right now, I'm about as athletic as you're ever going to see me get. But in my head, again, at that time, and I don't know if maybe it's just the bus, because when you're on the bus, you become one of those weirdos. I thought, no, I can make it. It's fine. And it was like a 3 or 4 foot gap. Like, that's it. So, in my head, I'm thinking, all right, if I'm very careful, I can go from the bottom step, jump over the hump, and I'll be golden. Things will be great. Well, in your head and in reality are very, very different. So I'm on the bus, and I jumped off. I didn't do one of the little woo things like that. I just did a regular manly jump. I could have done that. Or whatever it is that manly men do when they jump. I don't know. I'm going to just go woo. So anyway, I jumped woo and landed pretty much dead center in the pile of snow. So I made it about 2 feet before gravity went, no, you're not going to make that. So I landed directly in the snow, which is not the worst part of it. The worst part of it is that, an object in motion wants to stay in motion. So I landed, and the rest of me kept going. So it was more of a matter of, instead of just going whoop, poop, walking through the snow, I went whoop, poof, poof, and just landed flat out on my stomach. On my hands and knees. I didn't go poof out on the pavement, but enough that I sort of landed in the snowbank, tumbled, and went pleh, and sprawled out. So, of course, I'm cursing and swearing and brushing the snow off and everything else. I'm going, no one saw me, it's okay. So I turn around to pick up my bag, because that obviously went fucking flying as well. And I turn around, and there's a seat directly opposite the bus exit. And in it is a man who is desperately trying not to laugh. Because he's sitting with his back against the opposite wall, and he's just staring out at this fat guy that tumbled his ass out of a bus trying to jump over a minuscule snowbank. To his credit, he didn't burst out laughing. But you could tell that as soon as those doors closed, that he was going to lose it. And I can't blame him for that, because it would have been hilarious. And as angry as I was, because when you fall, you're just like, damn it, because you feel so stupid. And you think, God, no one watch, because it's embarrassing. And turning around and looking at him, and our eyes met, watching him just go, I'm not going to laugh. It did make me feel a little bit better, because if that was me and it was anyone else that was falling, fat or thin or young or old or whatever, I would have laughed. So whoever he is, to his credit, bravo. I'm sure that as soon as the doors closed and the bus took off, he probably wet himself. Which is fine because he's on the bus, and most people do anyway. So, but that is, those are 2 of my bus stories. And I think those are it. I only really have those 2 bad ones. And one is just sort of really a stupidity on my part. Well, they're both sort of stupid on my part. But the following one is at least somewhat funny. The other one is just kind of sad, now that I think about it. But the other one, the snowbank one, that one's good. This is not obviously the one where I say a very bad word. That's going to be a week or 2 away. I also have a store, sort of a service, customer service one. So I have a customer service story to tell you, which is not that bad. And then a really bad one where I just say a very bad word. And so, again, giving you plenty of notice. It's coming up. So prepare yourselves when you hear the story, when you hear the word. Some of you might be shocked and you go, oh, I can't believe he said that. Well, I'm going to. So anyway, that is it though for this one. I think we've wrapped the week up nicely. Tomorrow is day 50. So we're going to start up a new little section and not really change the format, but add some, I don't know, fireworks or special effects or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. But that's it. Thank you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.